So I've got Laura doing the leg lowering progression here. Core activation is what we call it because we're trying to reinforce good core activation prior to her flexing this hip. And again, I want to remove myself. I don't want to give her a lot of cueing. That's what we can use the band for. Reactive neuromuscular training. Get in her body to react and respond the way we want it to. That's naturally how we learn. So again, by her taking the band down, it forces her to engage here. She flexes that hip up, really trying to keep her knees extended, toes pointing up. So really trying to reinforce that. So here's the thing. I'm going to give her a little package and run through a little series of exercises really based off of what her limitations are. Okay, so I could follow this up. Have her do 5 or 6 of these reps. Now I'm going to go through this. Now follow this up with something else that's going to actually give her a little bit more core engagement around using her lower body and using mobility around her lower body. She's got some mobility limitations, but I think it's based off her score, based off of her having some instabilities. So Laura, come on up into a plank position. So we go right into a plank position. So go ahead and at a start push-up position. So not traditionally what most people think of a plank. Get her spine in a good position. I'm going to take this and put it right between her knees. Again, by her having this between her knees and just telling her to hold it, that automatically gets you to engage your core. In this plank position, she's automatically engaging her core, getting into that stiff position, which is what we want. We want to get her more stiff here, using her legs more appropriately. So now go ahead and flex that knee. So just doing a knee flexion now, this is actually deactivating her hip flexors, making those guys relax because we're activating the hamstrings. Most people think the hamstrings are tight because their muscles are working too much, when in actuality, a lot of times, if you got some instabilities here, the hamstring's actually lengthened. So we want to deactivate the hip flexors or muscles up front, activate these guys. And again, I don't have to tell her that. Go and just relax. For Laura, this is a tough move, okay? Because of some limitations we found. Right, now from here, I can go right into a tall kneeling position. So now we can do a tall kneeling rotation. So I got the kettlebell here. Again, all of these implements I'm adding in, like this thing, the band, the kettlebell, are simply ways for her to automatically react and respond, so I don't have to give her like cueing. The base of support needs to be a little bit wider so we can get those hips. So almost get an A in here with your hips. Now grab the kettlebell, Laura. And as soon as she grabs that kettlebell behind her, it's forcing her a little bit in an extended position, where the anterior core, the rectus, all those muscles up front, have to automatically engage to, if I cue her into a nice tall spine, she automatically has to engage with the weight of that kettlebell being behind her. Now go ahead and do some rotations. Now we add in these rotations. And again, think about what I'm doing here. Start her out on her back, transition up into a quadruped position, or that plank position. Now we got into a tall kneeling or a transitional position. Remember, I'm not really focused on quote-unquote corrective exercise. I want to give Laura a little package that she can do as a warm-up that's more focused on what she needs. So she does a few of these rotations, really get her to stay up nice and tall. Really, I don't have to do a lot of cueing. The kettlebell is making her react and respond. Getting those hips pushed up front, deactivating these hip flexors, making her stay up nice and tall. Now from here, I'm going to go right into a toe touch progression. So go ahead and put that kettlebell down. And Laura's going to come right over here to the board. And again, by putting her toes up and feet together, I'm going to take my little pad here and put that between her knees. Again, by putting that between her knees, automatically causes her to tighten everything up here. Now the board, by her having her toes up, it forces a little weight shift backward. Forcing that weight shift backwards makes her use her hips. We're doing this, all of these little exercises, to improve core stability and improve her hip hinge, allowing her to use her hips better. So go ahead and reach up. Now go down and touch your toes. So the whole toe touch progression is about using your hips better. Create a little bit more core stability. So again, this is more of a proprioceptive. Again, reactive neuromuscular training is what we're doing. I'm not telling her to sit back. Too often people say sit back to get in that hip hinge position. The board's doing that automatically, okay? So do a couple, Laura. Now step across, put your heels up. Feet together, same thing. Again, just changing where the tension is applied now by having your heels up versus your toes up. And right now, I have her do 5 or 6 of these reps, go right back down, do that leg lowering, and then repeat this process. She could go through this 2 to 3 times, okay? And this would be a really good little warm-up package before she goes into her running, before she goes into a workout that she's going to do that day, or really before she goes to bed at night or when she gets up in the morning, because this is all centered on where her problems lie. we can create this little package of exercises for Laura based off how she scored. Now remember, Laura is a runner, so I know she's always going to have a tendency to create tension in that posterior area. A lot of people want to say hamstrings. It's really that posterior chain that she's using inappropriately as she runs because she doesn't have a good stable base. She doesn't have a good stable core. Again, this is not unusual for people that run high mileage. So if we want to reset that system, we may need to pull the mileage back, at least initially, give her some of these activities that focus on creating better core stability, allowing her hip flexors and her hamstrings and posterior chain to work more appropriately. And I think the little package we set up, stable here, use those hips a little bit better. Create a better foundation so she can have long-term sustainability. We want to get that mileage back up for her because that's what she really wants. So let's back off now. Give her some activities that can reset the system and add the mileage back in because again, I'm worried more about how Laura is doing 10, 20, 30 years from now rather than her just doing a bunch of miles right now.